guns on your bottom. Those guns, if you don't have them, and maybe even a bit of surrounding stuff there, you may not be heavy enough on the bottom. Put thrusters on the bottom, put guns around, put blocks around your thrusters to protect them a bit better, have that on the bottom, have some extra belly protection on the bottom, and you should be fine. That thing, it does toggle from time to time, but usually it wants to go on top, it wants to be the right side up again. So when I drive around with that, I'm really not good with hovers. If you are a bit new to hovers, spacebar will get you higher. You can increase your altitude by pressing space. If you're not too heavy, you can decrease it again with shift. So if you want to capture and want to have some time, you're hands-free, you want to have a drink while you're capturing, just go low and you won't move around anymore. If you for some very strange reason want to be a hover railgunner, don't ever do that. A hover railgunner is always in movement and therefore can never aim. However, if you for some strange reason do that, always land and then you can shoot. So yeah, you can land with those, you can generally go a bit lower. If there's someone behind the hill, you may want to approach him very low, not high. Very good against railgunners again. If you are up to a railgunner, please approach the railgunner low. You want to be almost touching the ground, and then you just run to the railgunner. So let's say there was on the base over there was a railgunner defending. You want to approach him like that, very low, just high enough so you don't touch the ground, and then you're already in his face. I mean, he will start seeing you when you are the railgunner who's defending the base there, where the black stone is, he will see you when you're roughly here. On the other hand, if you are high up and you approach him, the railgunner will already see you when you are like here, and you are exposing your belly. You really don't want to do that. Now you can argue, if you go lower, it takes a bit longer till you can actually see him and you can shoot him. However, please remember, the railgunner is so useless at close range, so you don't want him to see you at a distance, you want him to see you only at close range. Then you just move around him like that, and keep on shooting all the time, and you will be fine, you will definitely beat him. So it is quite often a good idea to be low. Again, if there was a plasma bomber above me, I really want to have the maximum height I can get out of there. So a lot of hovers at lower ranks haven't figured that out yet. Just press spacebar, be high up. I may toggle now. I actually want to try to get it to toggle. It's not happening, so maybe I have actually done something right with that craft. Yeah, there are some crafts which would have already been upside down, like the last version I did of this. If you ever toggle, either you do have a flipper. I only would recommend a flipper if you really have too much CPU to spend, which is rarely the case. If you want to use a flipper, press shift first, go completely down, and now you would be able to use a flipper. If you don't have a flipper, just try to move directly to a mountain or a hill. Just press forward, go as high as you can, go directly toward there, and you will have some motion going on. If your craft is designed in a way that it is actually heavy on the bottom, you will sooner or later... Oh, it's so nice, you see? Minecraft is that way. Sooner or later, Minecraft always wants to have the bottom on the bottom and the top on top. If you ever toggle and you try to get it upright again, and you have problems with that, although you are at 100% health, you definitely need your blades higher. You've done it wrong. And if you can't place them higher, just scrap it and do it all over again. A hovercraft is not a craft that you can tweak good when it comes to the toggling. You can't change a bit here, change a bit there, and that is perfect. You just, right from the start, you have to concentrate on having the hover blades high up. Now we have a look, small look at flight. the general aerodynamics of the flight are... Well, the aerodynamics are not good. The flight physics... Wait. The flight physics are good, the aerodynamics are not. What would I... There we are. So what do the buttons do when I have a flyer? First of all, there actually is an order of things, and the order of things is when you press forward, all of your forward thrusters will fire, all of your hover blades will try to get you forward, all of your wheels will try to go forward, and all of your legs will try to crawl. As long as your legs are on the ground, your legs will work most. After that, usually everything wing related will work. After that, all hover stuff will try to work, and all the wheels as well. And the wheels and the hovers will just try to work against each other. So when you mix stuff, some stuff is stronger than others. For example, if I have a hovercraft and I add a rudder, my left button will not try to actually have a turn motion. The moment I have a rudder, I will do rolling motion when I press to one side. So if you try to mix up hovers and flights, please remember you won't be able to move on the ground as good as you were before, because now when you press to the side you have a rolling motion and not a turning motion anymore. So yes, if you are new to flying, pressing the side buttons will actually do a roll. Pressing spacebar will lead to all of the wings which are in front of the center of gravity to point up, the ones which are behind the center of gravity to go down, and therefore will try to get your nose up. All thrusters which are facing upwards will fire when you press spacebar. I do have a thruster in top. You can actually see the exhaust of my front top thruster if you look closely. If I had thrusters up my butt, all of my wings would try to get my nose up and my ass down the moment I press space. However, the upward thruster on my ass would fire as well, just because it's an up thruster, and all up thrusters are triggered by spacebar, so I would actually counter my motion. So yeah, up thrusters, you want them in the front. If it's just a I want my nose to move up faster thruster, yes, definitely have that one in the front. I do have sideways thrusters. They do fire the moment I press to the side. However, they are just not strong enough to counter my 8 wings. They are mostly for ground movement. So yes, sometimes I do have to see the medic, sometimes I do want to land. For some reason, sometimes I even capture. I don't have an air brake, I actually have to wait. And sometimes I just stuck somewhere, but I do have front thrusters. So yes, I can just turn around, have a look at where I want to go. My turn speed is slightly faster if I press space now, because if I press space, my nose isn't touching the ground as hard anymore, so it's easier to scrape over the ground here. So yes, front directional thrusters, I highly recommend them. You're very unlikely to get stuck if you have those. You need only very small ones. Very small ones will completely suffice. This is a huge craft, and my front directional thrusters just look like T6s. It should be T6. On a huge T10 craft. It's plenty enough to see this turn speed was great. I probably would be able to do it with T4s. I just have T6 so they can take actually an SMG gunshot and still be alive. So yes, I've got space to go up. I've got shift to do the opposite. Shift will fire all of my downward facing thrusters. My wings in front of the center of gravity will face down, the ones behind that will face up. So shift will decrease my altitude, space will increase, I can roll. Of course I am pressing forward all the time to have my forward thrusters firing, and if I did have an air brake, meaning if I had thrusters pointing backwards, if I was trying to move backward they would fire, but I just don't have any of this thingy. If you want to be able to do what I'm doing right now, which is gliding, there's not really a need for that. It's nice to have a lot of wings. You are able to glide much better if you have more wings. If you went with only forward thrust and a few rudders, you would actually be more of a jet plane, a fighter plane in real life. Just imagine a whatever MiG trying to land without the thrusters. Guess it is possible. Don't think it is possible. It's working very well, especially if you have a look at the newer real planes. I highly doubt if the Eurofighter, for example, would be able to land without thrusters. They just can't glide. So yeah, if you have a plane with only a lot of thrusters and a lot of rudders, it is comparable to a jet in real life, as it can't really glide or do anything like that. Now again, you might be asking, why would I want to glide? I got my thrusters and I don't have to pay the bills for the fuel anyway. This plane can actually fly with only 2 thrusters. Of course, I can't climb like that. But if I have only 2 thrusters left, never tried with 1 though. If I have only 2 thrusters left, I can still stay in the air, fly around, have a bit slight turns, but only do slight turns, try to keep my altitude, or only go up just a bit higher. It still works with 2 thrusters. If you have a look at designs which only have a lot of rudders and a huge amount of thrusters, they can't do that. They need a large amount of thrusters to actually stay in the air, because rudders don't have lift. Another thing, if you want to be able to fly very stable, you want your wings to be above the center of gravity. I think I mentioned that already 3 times, so that's it for flyers now. If you do have a plane and it doesn't work, just ask me, send me a screenshot. So we're actually coming to the end of all of it. I'm quite sure I forgot half of it. Don't copy shit or be useless. That's very important as well. Please don't copy shit and be useless, meaning if you see a great craft, maybe you can think about why is it a great craft, what did he do that's working so well, and you try to implement that the next time you build a craft. Don't just copy one to one without actually knowing what you're doing. It's probably a bad idea and you won't learn anything. Don't go to pages and copy a design and fly around with that. It takes out a lot of the fun. I mean, of course, you can do that. I won't call the police if you do. Oh, I forgot my radar trimmers. But I think it's much better to actually think about what stuff is doing. Have a look at how much damage do you deal, how much damage do others deal, how many of your guns are firing when you are at a low percentage, when you've taken heavy damage. What is usually still intact? Do I still have my spongy area, or do I still have my wheels and my guns? What is your destruction pattern and how can I change it? And when you go around like that, you will get better and better, and then sometime you'll be like, well, today I want to build a hovercraft crawler plane that can actually fly upside down all the time, deal a ton of damage, and change color it will. And you will be able to just build it because you're just that good, because you've got better and better. If you, however, want to try a new design and you only ever copy designs from others, I hope you get what I'm trying to say. The game is about creating a great tank, having fun modifying it, trying again and again, be better, sometimes be down, then be up again, increasing your stuff. If patch comes out, something is changed, you can change your tank, adapt to the situation. I think that's more like it, and not copying design flying around. The other thing is, don't be useless. I have been told a few times that I do take the game too serious, because I don't like cool designs, because some of the cool designs are not cool. For example, 2D pixel art designs are just not cool. Probably, no, they're actually nothing, they're just useless. So if you use a large amount of white blocks and red blocks